Hello, my name is Lily Archive. We talk about fundies and occasionally other stuff. Today we're going to be talking about the Plaths. We're going to be covering everything Veronica Peters has said about her now ex, Micah Plath, and his family of Welcome to Plathville. She's been spilling almost daily tea about this situation, so we really need to catch up all the way from last month. Let's start off with the first event that led to this. On February 22nd of 2025, Lydia Plath, Micah's sister, got married. At the wedding, Micah and Isaac Plath get into a physical fight which lands Micah in the hospital. Veronica claims that she had left the wedding at that point and is unsure why this fight began, but she does claim that the next day she was blamed for said fight. Micah was sent to the hospital and has had a multitude of injuries that we'll get into. Now, right now I'm showing you a comment from Veronica's Reddit. I know that there was some confusion on if that was the right Reddit. I reached out to her on Instagram and she confirmed that that is indeed her on Reddit. 2 days later, February 24th, Micah removes all photos of Veronica from his Instagram. This leads people to assume naturally that they broke up, which did end up being true. After the breakup, Veronica goes absolutely balls to the wall and makes many statements regarding Micah and the entire Plath family. This video will cover all those statements thus far. Now, on March 12th is really where it starts going haywire. Veronica changes her name on Instagram from from Veronica Plath to just Veronica. While Veronica's legal last name is Peters, she's used the moniker Veronica Plath to keep her real life more private from TLC fans and the media. Upon changing her Instagram name, she had not removed any photos of her and Micah. The next day, she still hadn't removed any photos, but she did change a lot of her captions to indicate that they had broken up. Then on St. Patrick's Day, she posts a couple of cryptic stories, one that was kind of like a breakup type text post, another one that was about toxic families, the works. Then on the 18th, Veronica actually claims that she paid for Micah's teeth. On the 20th, Veronica shades Kim in a comment on her Instagram post. On the 24th, she shades Kim again in another Instagram comment. She also insinuates that Kim is still struggling with her drinking. The 24th was actually a pretty big day for Veronica's posting, and she posts a lot of stuff, particularly on Reddit. The first comment we're going to look at is her insinuating that Micah is bad in bed, which, okay. A few days prior to this, there was actually some rumor that Ken and Kim had broken up because her Facebook that she uses by and goes by another name, Shannon Rose, said that she's single. And Veronica does confirm this, but she says that they're still friends with benefits and that Ken even attended the wedding, even though she's insinuating that he was not invited. So also on this day, there was a particular, post somebody else had made that Veronica was in the comments of. So on the 24th, a girl, I guess, had posted a photo of her and Micah on her Snapchat story. An unknown girl. Veronica says that she's from LA. I don't know. But it's unclear if this girl had posted that recently, the photo in question, or if she had posted it way back when and it's just not getting leaked. But it got leaked on Reddit. Now, Veronica is in the comments. She claims that this is an old photo as she threw the beanie out that Micah's wearing in the photo months prior. So she kind of says like, oh, this girl might have been cheating with Micah at the time, but that is an old photo. And there's somebody who is claiming to be that girl in the photos in the comments. I don't know if that's true, and they get into a little back and forth. I'll put up on the screen. Also on this day, Veronica claims that she joined the show out of rage because Micah was cheating on her with a girl from season 5, and then she also says that Kim would always do shady crap, like try to get Micah's name on titles of stuff when she would buy property and stuff. At one point, Veronica also tells us that she is seeing someone new who's more educated and taller, and that Micah is probably pissed, and this guy also happens to be a professional athlete. She then spills a little tea on Ethan's girlfriend, said that she's a fan of the show, and actually DM'd him, and that's how they met. And then she was kind of surprised that, she had saw the show and was interested. This young lady is named Tegan, and she actually is a mother of one. She didn't specify who, but she does say that some of the family members are often lurking on Reddit. So now we're around the 25th of March, and she shares that she's a little scared of Barry and feels like he would snap one day. So also on the 25th, she said that Lydia can actually pound back some drinks, but don't let her image fool you. So definitely not what we're used to when we think of Lydia. She also said that Moriah puts a oh pity me act, but she's quite the influencer of the family. So kind of saying that Moriah has quite the influence among like her siblings and her parents, which is kind of contrary to kind of what we saw, especially in the earlier seasons. Someone asked if Kim cheated on Barry with Ken. I always say Kim and Ken, and they sound like so similar to me, so I gotta enunciate. But she does confirm that there was overlap between her marriage with Barry and her relationship with Ken. Moving on to the 27th, she posted some photos with some of the cows and the dogs at the house, and she said, "They said the animals like no one. Funny, they seem to like me just fine. Maybe they just can't stand shitty people, neglect, and abuse. Shocking, I know." So, obviously, kind of about the Plaths, because she had reiterated some of those statements on Reddit and in other places in her comment section. In the comments, she shared that Barry was actually mad at her that she had brought their dog, I guess, inside. It lives outside by a very busy road, and the dog is scared of the rain. It's constantly covered in fleas and ticks as well. Oh, I should also mention they left it out during that major hurricane that hit Cairo. So the 27th was actually also a big day on Reddit for Veronica. Someone says, "I'm sure she would have an issue with boyfriends' husbands if it served her, but there's definitely an emphasis on the women coming into the picture. I'd love to know a professional's opinion on that because it's quite disturbing." They're talking about Kim in that comment. Veronica says they bully Lydia's husband behind his back. It's sad. I think she's talking about generally the family. Somebody said that's too bad. Lydia seems like a nice young woman. Of course, I only know from the show. And then Veronica said, "Oh no, they're taking him down next. I'm willing to bet on it. Half the family was jealous she was getting married. It was really pathetic." So this part was confusing for me. Earlier on, she said that after the whole wedding incident and breaking up, I guess, Micah and some of his brothers tried to break into the house, and so they were asking for the timeline. I can't imagine 12 hours after your brother almost K's you that all the brothers would take an angry boys trip to break into my houses, all three boys, so Micah, Ethan, and Isaac also slept in the Walmart parking lot because they were too cheap to get a hotel and they had to wait a day for me to get back before I would let them in to get Micah's shit and leave. Their intent was to vandalize Ethan, idea, and coercion. Somebody says Ethan seems terrifying to me, like a dark and scary side. Yes, and Veronica says yes, it gives me will snap at any moment vibes. Veronica also claimed that Amber was living with Micah and her at one time. She tried to sign her up for school at that time. She watched TV all day like Kim does. She says never seen them do schoolwork besides Duolingo when I did mine. Um, and she was basically saying that Amber did go live with them because she was tired of living with Ken. And then one thing I did find extreme, like probably almost most concerning, and this is not even something she said about Micah, is there at the bottom if you see that she claims, now if this is true, this is actually really weird, that Ken has his own three kids, but his screensaver is Mercy, which is very odd. I really hope that isn't true. So all of those were on March 27th. Then she has like a couple of days where she's a little bit more quiet, but still kind of responding to comments. And then on April 1st, she actually accuses Moriah of grand theft, not against her, but of like with her music business. Also on the 1st, she goes more in about not Isaac, Ethan's new girlfriend, and says that Ethan only posted her publicly after he had cheated on her, which is interesting. She then also returns to the topic of Lydia's new husband and says that Ethan and Isaac deemed him gay and were ready to commit some sort of crime against him because they felt that that was true. And she also clarifies later on that Micah wasn't involved in that. She said that it was also really, really odd that they were so against Zach because they really knew nothing about him. The family either met him at the proposal or a few days before, which is not that crazy. There's so many family members, and Lydia only dated him for like 4 or 5 months before getting engaged or getting married. I'm not sure which one, but they did respect him in a way because he's super religious. She also claims that Lydia liked a Brazilian guy who lived in DC, but she knew her family wouldn't accept him. And then, like a week later, she started seeing Zachary. I don't know. I think that's interesting. Lydia got men on her line. Like, she does not have a problem finding a man now. She also gave the marriage like 5 years because she said that there's demons following them. Sorry, I think that that would more just be like family issues, and then the fact that they don't really know each other because they got married within like a few months of meeting or dating. So I think that's more the issue, maybe like the family and the length of the relationship rather than demons. But sure. Zach actually is from Colorado, but it seems like they actually are moving in between Kimberly and Barry rather than going to where he's originally from. She also said that he has no backbone, which he kind of gives those vibes that he's not like super um strong and stoic like in his like he's not the typical funny man where he's going to take control, but neither is Barry, honestly. So it kind of makes sense that Lydia would find a man who's like a little more go with the flow. The last big thing that Veronica shared was on April 4th, so quite a few days ago, as I'm finishing up recording, that she actually accused Moriah of having a Reddit account pretty much primarily made to trash talk her and Lydia. And that is pretty much all I have for right now, as far as like statements from Veronica on her public accounts. However, I'm sure she'll add more. I'm sure she'll do some interviews with people like Sarah Fraser. I know that she did like a really quick one the other day where she just kind of joined the TikTok live. But you know, if something else like super crazy said, I'll make sure to make an update video. But I hope you guys enjoyed this, and obviously this is just Veronica's side of the story. So, you know, there's like with that big of a family, there's 15 sides of the story. So you really have to discern, you know, what to believe and what not to believe. But definitely want to discuss this with you all in the comments. I'll talk to y'all later.
It's really fake and gay, and I am actually an expert on all matters that are fake and gay.